Welcome to Blueprint Radio. I'm your host, Martin Williams. Here we help you create a blueprint for your life. So let's build. Welcome to Blueprint Radio. My name is Martin Williams. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You may do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. All the links to the podcast can be found at guidedexpressions.com/podcast with an S, or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. So we are continuing our journey through the power of decision. We're up to day 5, and today's topic will be the subconscious mind. And so I want to really do this at a high level, because you could write infinite amount of books on the subconscious mind and how it works and all of these things. But in the context of the book itself, it's very important that you understand that, first off, everyone has a subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is very powerful. It can determine, most psychologists say that the subconscious mind is responsible for about 90% of our daily activities. And it's one of the reasons why it is very difficult to change habits. It's one of the reasons why we feel like we're stuck in our ways a lot of times, because, it's our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind is also called the habitual mind, right? So when you make a decision, which is what this book is all about, you are alerting your subconscious mind that we're heading in a new direction. And it's one of the reasons why making a decision is so important. You can desire to get a new job, but until you make a decision to get a new job, nothing really happens, right? When you make a decision to get a new job, to use that example, the subconscious mind says, okay, well, I need to get my resume together. I need to reach out to my network. I need to think about the type of job that I want, how much money I want to make, all these different things. So when you make a decision, it's almost like turning on a switch, right? There's a whole new way of thinking tied to that decision. But so many people don't realize that the decision is important. That piece is important, so they never make it. And then the subconscious mind never kicks into gear the way that it should. Okay? So in the absence of, in the absence of a decision, right, the subconscious mind is basically going to run the same program. It's going to do the same thing that it's been doing the entire time. So if let's say that you decide that you want to lose weight, okay, and you've been eating the way you've been eating, and you've been exercising here and there for a number of months, maybe even a number of years. Until you make that decision to lose that weight, what the subconscious mind is going to do is it's going to basically drive you to continue to eat the way that you've been eating, to exercise the way that you've been exercising, and big surprise, the weight doesn't come off, right? But when you make the decision to lose the weight, all of a sudden, okay, I've got to do something differently. Okay, so you start running in the morning. You start looking at the labels of the things that you've been eating and decide, okay, maybe 5 cookies a day is not going to help me lose weight, right? Or, going to, eating fast food every day is not going to help me lose weight. It all starts with a decision. But if you don't know that you need to make that decision, you're not going to make it, and you're not going to do that. And then you're basically going to stay in the same position that you've always been in. So a lot of what I work on, and part of what my coaching practice will include, is mental programming. Because I truly believe that when you reprogram the mind, you can really start to tap into new levels of performance that you once thought was impossible. But the mind has to be reprogrammed, and it has to be reprogrammed consistently. in large part because we've been living the way that we've been living all this time, but also of the surroundings, right? The people that are closest to us. If you're surrounded with people that aren't doing much of anything, it can be very difficult for you to turn a new leaf. It can be very difficult for you to say, okay, I'm going to do better. I'm going to, get a better job or get a better situation. I'm going to move out of my parents' house. I'm going to get a new car. I'm tired of driving this clunker around. But if everyone around you isn't on that same wavelength, it can be very difficult for you to take that step. So you have to continually reprogram your mind to think in the way that you want it to think. Okay, we have the power to reprogram our mind. The problem is that we leave the program. Let me spit it out. The problem is that we leave the programming of our mind to someone else. And when you leave the programming of your mind to someone else, the results are usually not good, right? Because you're basically doing someone else's bidding, right? They may want you to stay at that job for 40 years or take 30 years to pay that mortgage off or, stay in this relationship that's not life-giving and you're putting everything out and this other person's not putting anything out, right? It can be that way, right? Because they're the ones that are controlling the programming of your mind. But you got to take the reins back and program your own mind and decide, okay, this is how I want my life to be, and this is how it's going to be, and I'm going to program my mind in this way. So Barker is basically telling you that the subconscious mind is your assistant. And you tell your assistant, if you had a real life assistant, that assistant's not going to do anything other than what you want them to do, or they're not going to work for you anymore. Well, the subconscious mind cannot do anything other than what you want it to do, and in the absence of a new instruction, it's going to do what it's always done. And so it's important that you give it the right instructions. It's important that you give it the right direction so you can start going in the direction that you want to go instead of spinning your wheels. So that really is all I wanted to talk about. It's very important for you to get in touch with your subconscious mind, really start reading up on it. There's some great books out there. One is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. Neville Goddard, a lot of his work deals with the imagination, and the imagination is really the language of the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind basically talks in pictures and understands pictures, probably as well, if not more so than words. So it's a really good practice to visualize, and it's one of the reasons why I believe a lot in visualization. Because visualization, when you start seeing where you want to be, the subconscious mind becomes activated and starts acting in a way that's in line with that new picture. So I don't want to get too deep in that. I'll definitely talk more about it as this summary of the book goes on. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in to Blueprint Radio. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to Blueprint Radio. For more information on Martin Williams coaching and products, please go to guidedexpressions.com or visit me on Facebook as well as Instagram.